Datuk, Tatin, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launch of DOC2US Virtual HIV Clinic and the commemoration event in collaboration with the Malaysian AIDS Council. My name is Teresa. I am your MC today. On behalf of MAC and DOC2US, we thank you for joining us for this meaningful yet exciting event. Let me give you a brief rundown of what we have in store for you. Very shortly, I will have Dr. Raymond Choi, CEO and co-founder of DOC2US, and our guest of honor, Dr. Dinesh of MAC, talking to us. Then we will have our panel discussion, jointly organized by MAC and DOC2US on the topic, Leave No One Behind, with experienced medical practitioner on HIV, AIDS, and we also have on the panel people living with HIV. There will be a Q&A session where you can drop your question in the Q&A box and we will have them answer for you. And after these, we will launch DOC2US Virtual HIV Clinic, followed by a demo of how to access the clinic for free. All right, so let us begin. With 81,000 people living with HIV in the country as of 2021, stigma and discrimination is widespread and continues to be a challenge despite advancement in medicine that allowed them to live in society and lead fulfilling lives. The 2023 International AIDS Memorial Day highlights the stigma and self-stigma experienced by people living with HIV, which prevents individuals from seeking the care and support they need. In commemoration of this, Malaysian AIDS Council and DOC2US have partnered together in this IAMD event to bring awareness to the significant challenges that people living with HIV face through a panel discussion. DOC2US is also launching a nationwide virtual HIV clinic that offers teleconsultations with licensed doctors and medical professionals, free of charge for all PLHIV and key population. DOC2US also want to guide and encourage them to begin seeking help in the right and safe environment, focus on health and well-being at its core, where they can have equal access to HIV testing procedures with the right facilities and prescription for medicine. With that in mind, at Malaysia's first and leading telehealth company, DOC2US prides itself in its values of providing equitable, accessible, and inclusive healthcare for all people. This is built upon the company's faith in incorporating digital health into the care model as an avenue for PLHIV and key population to seek treatment and care consultation. Without further ado, let us welcome Dr. Raymond Choi, CEO and co-founder of DOC2US, to give us his welcome speech.
Thank you, Teresa. I'll try to make it as short, as simple as possible so that we can focus more on the panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to this special event commemorating the International AIDS Memorial Day 2023. Together with our partner, the Malaysian AIDS Council, MAC. I would like to thank each and every one of you for gracing this event, and because your support and presence today actually, is very invaluable. And as we exempling here today, with this single purpose of raising awareness and showing support towards the HIV community. Today actually marks a very significant milestone in our journey, the official launch of DOC2US Virtual HIV Clinic. And this clinic is made possible by the dedication and efforts of the entire DOC2US team, the medical team, the relevant parties, represent a groundbreaking initiative that leverages on technology to bridge the gap and ensure that people living with HIV and the key population receive the quality care they deserve in a comfort and confidence, as well as in a safer manner, right? On behalf of DOC2US, we are very humbled by the opportunity given to contribute a little bit to this field of digital health and to make a difference in the lives of those affected by HIV in Malaysia. The launch of the virtual HIV clinic is just the beginning of our journey, and it's still a long process for us to break through. And really we need to prioritize the treatment for PLHIV in Malaysia. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Malaysian AIDS Council, MAC, for their unwavering support from day one until today and making this happen. And of course, with the collaboration to commemorate this event, right, in conjunction with the International AIDS Memorial Day 2023. MAC's endorsement for this initiative reaffirms our commitment to work hand in hand towards our common goal of eradicating at the discrimination as well as the challenges faced by PLHIV in Malaysia. We share a firm belief that public-private partnerships are crucial in fostering a more inclusive and effective healthcare ecosystem. Together, we can create a lasting impact and improve the lives of the PLHIV and the specific group of people, right? And it's our honor to host esteemed and experienced guests on this panel today, all of whom are passionate pioneers and strong names, advocates who actually have contributed so much to the cause of HIV in Malaysia. People like, Dr. Christopher Lee, Professor Dr. James Kaur, Ms. Audrey Atlas, and our special guests, as well as, of course, MAC, right, who actually took a step forward, to contribute and share their experiences with us. I hope that it will be a fruitful session today for everyone as we take another step towards progress. We gather to commemorate the International AIDS Memorial Day 2023. Let us remember that it is through love, solidarity, and understanding that we can build stronger communities and support those in need. This is a testament of our collective effort. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Ray, for your words with such sincerity and humanitarian. Okay, I'm sure our audience today is familiar with MAC, the Malaysian AIDS Council. It is Malaysia's leading non-profit umbrella organization which supports and coordinates the efforts of non-governmental organizations, NGOs, working on HIV and AIDS issues. Let us invite our guest of honor, Dr. Dinesh, MAC's Vice President, to say a few words.
Thank you, Teresa. To Dr. Christopher Lee, the former Deputy Director General of Health and former National Advisor for the Infectious Disease Ministry of Health. He was also our previous President for Malaysian AIDS Council and the founder of SLAS. To Professor Dr. James Kopp, Infectious Disease Consultant and Deputy Dean for IMU. Dr. Raymond Choi, founder and CEO of DOC2US, Ms. Audrey Edwards, Senior Lifestyle and Entertainment Editor with the Malay Mail, and also our moderator for today's event. Dear friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we have lived through 3 extraordinary years of this pandemic. What seemed like a never-ending nightmare has now eased. We're talking about COVID-19. Thanks to science, medicine, and public health interventions, including the vaccine. Just as so, the HIV pandemic, feared for decades, is no longer a death sentence now. However, the bitter truth of the matter is that in a world with advancing biomedical technology and clinical research for prevention, testing, treating HIV, it is shocking that HIV is still so prevalent in this modern age. Globally, we have more than 40 million people who have lost their lives ever since HIV was discovered. Behind these numbers are lives of humans unnecessarily lost and families and friends who were left behind. Effective HIV treatment means that a person living with HIV can essentially have not only a normal lifespan, but can live a normal life like anyone else. And this is by achieving viral suppression. He or she will not pass it on to their sexual partners or their unborn child. This concept is known as U equals to U. Undetectable equals to untransmittable. Progress against HIV has been uneven and unequal even before COVID. Important groups and the population in Malaysia were underserved. Children, adolescents, and other populations at high risk of HIV were among those who have not been sufficiently reached out for testing, for prevention, for treatment, and also for support, resulting in 2,760 new infections in 2021 alone. In order to ensure easier access in providing consultation and advice, thanks to Dr. Raymond Choi and his team, from Doc2US, they have taken the initiative in expanding differentiated HIV services for key populations via the launch of Doc2US Virtual HIV Clinic by using our mobile devices. So the same device that we used to take selfies and we used to tweet is being repurposed and commercialized for quick access to information needed for monitoring a patient's health. It is with these advances in digital health and other exciting prevention measures that is now conceivable that we will bring an end to AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. Screening and treatment, which is the main strategy in dealing with HIV and AIDS, will continue to be strengthened by introducing HIV self-screening to encourage more key population groups and couples to undergo screening for further treatment. A series of workshops were held for this purpose, including facilitating the approval of self-testing HIV screening kits under the MDA, the Medical Devices Act. We only have 7 years left to reach the goals, the global target of ending AIDS 2030 as a public health threat. This means that's why we at the Malaysian AIDS Council are calling out national leaders, civil societies, and all of you to rally to confront the inequalities that drive HIV and to ensure everyone everywhere in our nation has access to HIV services. This means finding innovative ways to deliver person-centered HIV prevention such as PrEP and PEP, early detection by testing, early treatment, and care services to everyone, irrespective of who they are and where they are from. This launch is timely with the upcoming International AIDS Memorial Day, and let us spread love and solidarity to build stronger communities. With that, I thank you all for your time here and our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Doc2US for this wonderful initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh. That's right. Let us spread love and solidarity to build stronger communities. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for the much anticipated panel discussion, Leave No One Behind, organized by MAC and Doc2US in an effort to educate the audience, highlight the barriers and challenges faced by PLHIV and key populations, encourage a common understanding of the issues, and bridge the gap to connect the people in need with healthcare practitioners through a digital approach where they can feel safe and confide with doctors in confidence. Let me introduce our panelists today. Dr. Christopher Lee, former National Advisor for Infectious Diseases in the Ministry of Health, former President of MAC and founding President of the Kuala Lumpur AIDS Support Society Services class. Professor Dr. James Kaur, Infectious Diseases Consultant, Head of the Division of Medicine, School of Medicine at International Medical University, IMU. Dr. Raymond Choi, who specializes in family and education medicine in Singapore prior to his return to Malaysia to pursue his passion on public health, and co-founded Doc2US. We are grateful today that we have two courageous PLHIV joining us on the panel today as well. Mr. Andrew Tan, who was diagnosed with HIV in 1994 and started volunteering in the year 2002. Currently, he is the president of the Kuala Lumpur AIDS Support Service Society. Passionate about HIV treatment literacy, he has conducted HIV modules for NGOs, corporations, and trained PLHIV in Thailand, Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And we also have Mr. Peter Jambai, a 26-year-old Sarawakian living in Kuala Lumpur since he was 18. He was diagnosed with HIV back in 2019. He uses arts as a way to cope and express himself, and he is currently in his final semester of achieving an arts degree. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, It is our honor to have the award-winning journalist, Ms. Audrey Edwards, as our moderator for the session. With over 20 years of experience in journalism, Audrey was recognized with Special Red Ribbon Media Award for her long-standing contribution to HIV/AIDS journalism. Once again, there will be a Q&A session after the panel discussion. So while the discussion is ongoing, please feel free to drop us your question in the Q&A box and we will have them answered for you. Let us now pass the floor to Ms. Audrey Edwards.
Sorry, Audrey, are you muted? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, as I was saying, let's just dive into it straight away because we don't have much time. We'll start with Andrew and Peter. Yeah, so basically, with the two of you, I'd just like you to very quickly relate your experiences as people living with HIV in Malaysia. Andrew, I'm sure you have many anecdotal stories to tell, including the stigma and discrimination episodes that you have faced throughout the years. And also, well, basically, I mean, the challenges the both of you face in getting treatment, if there are any challenges. So can we just go straight into it?
Yes, thank you very much, Audrey. When I was first diagnosed back in 1994, it was a very difficult time because I believe at that time the doctors themselves were learning about HIV, and we in public were only given the image and message that HIV meant death, and there was no other alternative to it. So when I was diagnosed, the doctor at that time at a private hospital in PJ, very well known, known as one of the premier hospitals in PJ at that time, basically just gave me the information as in your test results came back, you are HIV positive, and the second statement was you can be discharged now. So with those two sentences, my takeaway message from there is that there was nothing else he could do for me. And so in my mind, I prepared to die. There was no other message that was available. There was no other option that was given. There was no referral services. There was no alternatives to seeking treatment or anything like that. It was just, that's it, you know, you are discharged. So with that information in hand, I discharged from the hospital, and I waited 1 year to die, but I didn't, as you can see. And it took some time for me to gain enough courage to ask a really good friend who was volunteering with an NGO in KL at the time. And he recommended the doctors at University Malaya Medical Center. And that's where I registered, and that's where I've been ever since then. Those days were tough because we started on treatment with monotherapy, AZT, zidovudin, and there was no other choices. For someone like me who had underlying blood disorders like thalassemia, it did not work very well for me, but there was nothing else I could do. By the time I had to start combination therapies as medicines came on in Malaysia and were added to my regimen, I was taking almost 20 pills a day and at a cost of 2,000 a month. So definitely those were tough times. Thank you.
And well, I mean, you've been living with HIV for such a long time, and it actually, I think the last time we spoke, you actually made a joke about how now you're more worried about high cholesterol and things like that, and
Yes,
how you
that's
have
right.
to, yeah, how you have to cut out on your, what was it, char siu or siu yok?
My favorites all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it really hits home when you start taking medicine that was prescribed for your mom. That's when you know you've reached a stage of old age, literally. Right now, I'm taking a lot more medicines for my old age than for HIV. I'm taking about 7 different types of tablets for old age, for cholesterol, for blood thinners, especially. And only 3 different types for HIV. So it shows that HIV does keep you alive for a long time, long enough for you to actually age.
Yeah, but my question to you is, I don't know, what keeps you going on a day-to-day basis? Because I mean, despite you being so positive about life, I'm sure that, you know, sometimes there are some road bumps that are speed bumps that come in the way. So I mean, what kind of positive affirmation do you tell yourself to keep things going?
When I first started out, there was actually no positive affirmation. I literally cried myself to sleep every night. But it took me 8 long years of hiding before I decided to join class. And that was only because my own doctor at that time, Dr. Tan Lien Huat, was the president of class, and he encouraged me to come in, join into the session, listen. And of course, for me, someone who was really scared about coming out into the open, I sat at the back of the hall so I could escape in case I felt uncomfortable. But I realized when I went in there, nobody asked who you are, if you're HIV positive, how did you get it, and all those uncomfortable questions that you start expecting when somebody finds out that you're HIV positive. I found it to be a very safe space, and I found it to be very supportive. And that's when I decided in 2002 to start volunteering. So it was basically setting up booths at shopping complexes, distributing leaflets, anything I could do to get involved. And slowly I learned, because there was nowhere to actually learn about how to manage the disease. And those days, there was virtually limited peer support in this era, which is really sorely needed in any disease that you deal with.
Okay. Yeah, because of time, can we move on to Peter?
Yep.
Now we have a PLHIV. Okay, Peter, just can you briefly recap as to, because you're diagnosed in 2019?
Yeah.
And we were having a chat yesterday about your diagnosis and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, can you just recap that and the challenges you face?
Right.
And well, basically, I mean, how important is technology for you in this
Okay.
day and age? Yeah.
So I was diagnosed back in 2019, mid 2019. But my story, my diagnosis story is a bit of a mess, I have to admit, because I was committed to the psychiatric hospital at the time because of self-harm. And at the psychiatric ward was when they revealed to me that they've done blood testing on me. And then they started asking me all these questions about STDs and sexual health. And am I aware of HIV and all the other STDs out there? And me being completely unaware of the topic, I was very confused. I was very lost. I was by myself in the psychiatric ward on medication. And they started bombarding me with these questions. And I just asked them, like, can we just get straight to the point here? Like, what exactly is happening? Why are you asking me these questions? You know? And then they just told me, they said, "Oh, you don't know?" And I was like, "What don't I know? Can somebody tell me what don't I know?" And then they said, "Oh, you're HIV positive." And my heart sank because I was in a psych ward by myself, and they left the room. I was by myself in the room afterwards. And then immediately afterwards, a doctor, an HIV doctor, came to the room and started talking to me about medication arrangements. And I felt like I never had any chance or opportunity to kind of find terms or make terms with my diagnosis because everything was happening so fast and I was in survival mode the entire time and I couldn't even like think for myself. So people were doing the thinking for me and they were giving me medication. They were doing everything for me. And when they started me on medication, I was allergic to the first line of medication. So I broke out in like welts and I was red all over. And then they suggested a second line of medication, which is dolutegravir, which I'm on right now. And at the time, it was 600 ringgit a month. And for a college student, 600 ringgit a month costs a lot of money. And I'm privileged enough to be able to afford them with the help of my parents, because sadly, I had to tell my parents because there's no other way for me to obtain this medication without my parents' help. And that's another complication in my life, that telling my parents about this diagnosis and then having them to deal with that. And I haven't even dealt with that myself. So imagine like how I have to like assure my parents that I'm okay when I myself was like at the time like, okay, I just need to get my medication. I need to get back to uni. I need to sort out my mental health. Everything was a mess at the time. But fast forward now, it's gotten a lot better because like the introduction that Teresa read just now, through art, I find ways to express and cope with the challenges and the difficulties I face as a person living with HIV, undetectable since as well. Yeah, so I use art as a way to like cope basically. I create illustrations, I create animations, and also the wonders of the internet today. Oh my God, and technology. Being able to find support, I think it's much easier than it was during Andrew's time, because like I can just hop onto the internet and just like Google HIV support group maybe, and then find someone maybe just to talk to, or just like rant on Reddit, like being anonymous and just like write a couple of sentences and paragraphs, just like saying things like, I've just been diagnosed with HIV. I don't know what to do with my life. I'm 26 years old. And then just having like people responding to that, it provided me a safe space online. And then breaking the news to my friends physically as well, they have never been any more supportive. They know everything since day one. And I guess I'm so grateful because the majority of the healing that I've gone through came from the support of my friends around me and my queer social circle. Like they know me a lot, and without them, I don't know where I'd be, to be honest. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, just one question, one last question for you.
Yeah.
Where do you find the strength to be so vocal about your status and things like that? Because you very rarely find people who are so willing early on in their diagnosis to come forward and share their stories. So yeah, I'm just wondering where do you get the strength and bravery?
I think this hit me hard when I realized that I'm a small town boy from Sarawak who lives in KL, and I can't imagine how another small town boy or small town girl from a rural part of Sarawak or Sabah, I can't imagine how they feel if they were to face the news, right? And if that was me, like I would like to have someone to be open and to talk about the stigmas and to destigmatize the topic of STDs and HIV in general. And yeah, I just decided that, you know what, maybe I can be that someone to someone, you know, and just being open about it and just talking about it. And of course, it comes with a lot of fear at times. It does scare me talking about this publicly at times. But at the end of the day, I do believe that information is valuable. And if people can learn a thing or two, people can learn that it's okay to hug someone with HIV, it's okay to share a drink with someone with HIV at a younger age, then I think my job is almost done, you know? Yeah. And also, my mom, she was an HIV nurse. Yes, she, as children growing up, we had posters in our house about HIV, and she would always remind us that, you know, right, it's okay for you to hug someone with HIV. Like, you won't get HIV. So I guess that message stuck with me. And then now that I'm diagnosed, and I'm like, oh my God, my mom was an HIV nurse, and I guess I was prepared for this my whole life, apparently. Yeah.
The stage was set.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now can we move on to Dr. Chris, who's enjoying his retirement? Dr. Chris. Well, I won't say like years, I say decades of experience. Yeah, I just want to get your take as to how the treating patients, number one, and training of medical staff. How has that whole thing changed throughout the years, and basically the sensitization of your medical staff, because you were also in Sungai Buloh Hospital. Yeah, so can we briefly talk about that?
First, I want to again congratulate both Andrew and Peter. I mean, I've heard Andrew speak many times, but I know it's never easy because we do not know who's behind those cameras. Yeah, but I hope all of us appreciate what they have just shared. In my mind, when I listen to both of them, two things generally always stick up, and both of them mentioned this in their talk just now. Number one is access to care, which in both sense is access to a healthcare practitioner or a service, and also access to the medications. And both of them mentioned that degree. As we look at the journey by Andrew versus the journey by Peter, I'm sure there are some similarities, just that Andrew unfortunately went through much longer journey, going through every single phase of the treatment that we have. But when it comes to the other part of stigma and discrimination, these two are interlinked. Back in the bad old days, and I'm sure Andrew can tell you many stories, that people could have to travel many, many miles. And I'm talking of people in Sarawak and Sabah. I remember patients in Kuching would fly over to KL just to see me. Not because I was so clever, I'm not, but there were very few doctors who looked after HIV. And you know, whatever access you had, they were centered in KL, either University Hospital or in HKL. That was it. And they would fly. And those days, there was no Air Asia, mind you, so it was pretty expensive to fly over. That has changed a lot because of two things. Number one, I think Ministry of Health in particular has really developed a lot more treatment centers around the country, not just in main hospitals, but also in the clinic kesehatans. So in terms of physical access, that is improved. Of course, it can be better, no question. And that's where I think the program that is being launched today adds benefit to what we are already existing. But clearly, the number of clinics available to get treatment helps. But the other point is, because the government was pushing this, we were also having to desensitize our doctors and nurses with regards to stigma and discrimination on their own values with regards to looking after patients with HIV. And a good example, when Peter mentioned about her mother, who is, I'm sure, served a lot of souls back in Sarawak, those are the people who make an impact. The people who make connection to my patients, our patients at Sungai Buloh and NHKL, were really the paramedics who did a lot, because we have sheer numbers. We have hundreds of patients per day. So they took a lot of pressure off us in connecting with patients. And I'm sure Andrew would have seen that over the years. In the past, Andrew probably could pick up the same doctors to see all the time. Now it's getting a lot harder because the sheer numbers that we have. But the good thing is now we have a lot more people on the ground willing to do that. So really now the good news is, as we all know, treatments are doing so well. I'm so happy to see both our friends doing so well. Andrew is coming to 30 years, Andrew. That's a pretty big deal, isn't it, right? And we are seeing more and more people hitting that 30-year-old mark, which is great, all right? The thing now is, the sad thing, the treatments are available, it's getting more accessible, it's getting cheaper. But unfortunately, stigma and discrimination is the one we have to deal with. It's sad. We have the drugs, we have the doctors, we have the clinics to run to serve that medication out. But unfortunately, stigma and discrimination keeps patients from coming forward to us. And Peter mentioned that really about the fact that now she's going into the internet to get help. And I think that the program that we are launching today really will add value here. So maybe that will make it a lot easier.
Yeah. Did you receive a lot of complaints about healthcare staff, the way they treated people living with HIV?
Of course.
Yeah.
That is something we have.
Yeah.
We still
and what
today,
action was taken?
We still see it today, but a lot less, no question, a lot less. Yeah. But it's going to be an ongoing process. And I think the younger physicians, clinicians, not just ID, but also maybe family medicine specialists, will really spearhead this continual destigmatization of HIV in our healthcare services. So that's why people like my younger colleagues here, James cannot resign. He has to work for a long time more to come. So that, but jokes aside, really, this has to continue, and I'm sure it's continuing to be done. Even at our hospitals below, there's still regular desensitization programs for the paramedics, especially even attendants, even assistant nurses, because they always are the front line to encounter the patients. Yeah, so that's an ongoing process. I do believe the stigma and discrimination will continue to improve. A bit slowly, unfortunately, but we have to keep on working on it.
Yeah, but I think
stigmatization kills. We treat that.
And in terms of well, I mean, you as a physician and treating patients in the early days, and I mean, I assume that you are still treating up to recently, right? Patients.
Yeah, I don't have to see so many patients anymore, thank God.
Before they spirited you away to health ministry, right?
The drugs I was taking, I also have to take some of them now, you know.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, yeah. So just to get a feel of it, I mean, how did technology play a role? Because I also received treatment at Sungai Buloh, but for diabetes and things like that. So you can actually see like how computers and all slowly they have this one. So how has it made the job easier in terms of like having technology to store your records and things like that?
So I think obviously computerizing the data helps a great deal. Of course, there's a lot of problems when you first convert from a paper-based hospital to a paperless hospital. But I think it's worth all the effort that goes in. I just want to mention, because I'm sure we are running out of time, we started the virtual HIV clinic in Sungai Buloh since 2017, before COVID started. We did that not because I had so much vision, not because of that. I did it from pure survival instincts. We just had so many patients. We had no option. So we look at all our patients, and Andrew knows this very well. All those patients who are doing well, who has been stable for years, for some reason they were not comfortable going elsewhere. We tried very hard, trust me. We tried very hard to ask them go somewhere else. But you know that they're just comfortable, that's all. So we created this virtual platform where we saw patients who were stable. So patients who had no change in medication for years, we just have to monitor them for the other stuff that crops up as one gets older, which does occur, monitor their viral loads. We see them once a year physically, and the other times everything is on the virtual platform. So with that, we are able to decongest our clinic to see the newer patients or patients who are having problems with their treatment. And they're still ongoing now. But going forward, so I'm very happy to be on this panel because we are launching something I think that will make a difference. I think both of them mentioned this. The time the patient needs the most help is really at the beginning, and they first find out. And that's when they are most fearful, and that's when they lack the most information. It's very scary for them to reach out to a doctor, to a colleague or a senior, because the fear of being discriminated upon. That is a fact. So having this virtual platform helps a great deal. It's a safer place, as Peter mentioned many times, right? It's a safer place. So I think something like this makes good sense. Everybody who's on the platform will have had good basic training of HIV and AIDS, which is great. So the information will be pretty accurate and up to date. At the same time, a referral of services, they can direct you to a safer place to seek treatment. If perhaps they can even do it virtual in the time ahead. But at the moment, it's a great reference point for patients with HIV, newly diagnosed with HIV. So I really applaud that we are launching this. I think it's a great program to put on board.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chris. Now next we move on to Prof. James. Okay, Prof. James, also to get your take, like similar questions to Dr. Chris, but also like is there I mean, like at the end of the day, would a virtual clinic help in helping to destigmatize the disease, or will it make patients, like, you know, some of them are a bit uncomfortable meeting virtually, so is that going to add on to their isolation? You know, because it's like just I can't touch you.
I think that's a great question. But I think it's a two-edged sword. You know, going virtual doesn't mean we are going to abandon the face-to-face clinic. I think going virtual means we are giving an additional option. When Datuk Chris and his team started the virtual clinic in Sungai Buloh, we all got very excited. I'm working in Seremban, and I got very excited because I wanted to do a virtual clinic because
to have a similar thing over there.
Yeah, more than 50% of my patients don't really need to come to the clinic and you know, endure the horrible jam trying to find parking and all that. They can just see us virtually because they are so stable. So yeah, that was what I wanted. You know, what you wish for, but what you get it's not the same thing, because in my hospital, in my clinic, we have almost no internet access, right? For virtual clinic to happen, you do have to have some internet access. So for me, when I run my clinic, even on Fridays, if I need to send a message out or even call or take a call, I need to run to the nearest window, because if I sit in my room, it becomes a telco black hole. You know, just nothing's happening there. So I need to run to the nearest window to get 1 bar of the signal in order to make a conversation with someone outside. Yeah, but what we are going to see today is a step forward, and it has always been my dream. I don't have the ability, but somebody else is doing it. I'm so glad, because we are taking the clinic out of the hospital, basically. So now anyone sitting anywhere with a reasonably good internet access and a good device will be able to connect with a doctor anytime to consult, you know. And I suppose back to your question, whether there will be people who feel isolated. Like I say, it can work both ways. People who don't feel comfortable being online with the doctor may still choose to go and see a doctor face to face. I think there's a lot of value in that, because being human, we are social beings. I think seeing and you know, connecting with someone face to face is really valuable. On the other hand, there are also people who are very scared of you know, going out in actually seeing a doctor, especially those who are newly diagnosed. I think the two biggest challenges in HIV medicine is stigma, discrimination, and also access. I think with a platform that Raymond and team is going to launch for us, we are going to address these two to a certain degree. I think it'll be to a significant degree, and I'm very excited about this thing, because it's something that I can't do, but somebody else is doing it. I'm very happy and very delighted that it's going to happen.
Yeah, but and another thing is, like, because we keep talking about patients who are stable and all, so having a virtual clinic isn't really advisable for those who have just been newly diagnosed, right? It's not every patient that
I would reckon, yeah,
virtual.
they may have even the first session online, and we can connect them to the nearest clinic or the nearest accessible facility for face-to-face consult. And once they are good to go, they are stable, they're happy to be online. From there onwards, I don't see there being a problem with that. Yeah, but like I said, I think human interaction is very important. I think there's a lot of things that we are unable to convey online,
Right.
and that I think we need to preserve that as well.
So it still has to be a mix of
virtual
and
it's like how we do things now
physical.
post-COVID. Everything is hybrid, you sort of meet sometime for coffee, and the rest of the time you have online meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just look at each other having coffee.
Oh well, yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. And okay. So can you also give us a bit of rundown of your experiences in I don't know whether you're as old as Dr. Christopher or not. So yeah, from the beginning to now, I mean, how
Of course, he's not as old as I am. Sorry, I've been.
Well, you may not know, but Dr. Chris was my consultant when I was a house officer, and
okay.
he was the one who inspired me to do HIV medicine. But you can see that I have aged a lot faster.
I know.
Greater than Dr. Chris. I don't know what's his secret.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't age at all.
He thinks more than I do. Okay, now we all know.
So I need to think less, I think. Yeah, but a lot of very, very grateful, and it's not without merit that we all call Dr. Chris as the father of HIV medicine in Malaysia, because without him, a lot of things would not be what they are today. And
yeah, we probably wouldn't even have the Sungai Buloh Hospital.
Exactly. So yeah,
right.
So there's a lot of things that have happened because of what and who he is. And we're all grateful, and the team is getting bigger and bigger. Like Dr. Chris said, we're getting more and more young people on board. Yeah, I'm also doing a lot less now compared to those days. Yeah, so we are really progressing, and of course the patient load is also increasing in tandem. That's why we need new innovations, new ways of reaching out, and new ways of connecting.
Yeah, and because you're attached to IMU, right? Do you actually see like there are more students who are interested to specialize in ID, or are they still going in for your cool cardiology and things like that?
Maybe I shouldn't comment so much on that. I think what we do is to train competent doctors with a massive dose of empathy, and they're able to empathize and connect with their patients. I think that if I can achieve that with my students, I think I'm more than happy already.
But you were mentioning that there's no specific module for like
yeah, because
HIV,
ID is lumped together with
yeah,
it's lumped together. But soft skill, it's kind of a skill that you absorb, something like by osmosis or something. You need to really be there to observe, to hear, to feel.
But not every doctor has that necessary soft skill.
Yeah. But
so how do you like,
Yeah, I guess that's what Dr.
situation.
say, because we need to train and retrain and continue to learn and pick up new skills as we go along. Being a doctor is a lifelong learning skill, and we'll keep on learning. until the day we put down our stethoscope and say the day is done.
Yeah, because but I have to say, as a patient, the attitude of doctors has improved over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, you still have your one or two rude doctors.
They
Like,
will
don't
always,
you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? I'm a doctor. You have
That's
to
all
listen
right.
to what I say. Okay, thanks so much, Prof. Okay, finally we have Dr. Ray. Okay, Dr. Ray, virtual clinic. How does this play into the entire landscape of HIV treatment in Malaysia? I mean, what do you hope to achieve?
Yeah, thanks, Audrey. I think first of all, a big shout out and thanks to Andrew and Peter for willingly come forward, and it's not easy for them to come forward and share their life experience. And I'm thankful that you treat this as a safe space, and you have gone through so much, right, and all this discrimination. But well done. I think thank you so much. And of course to the two great guys here. I'm so honored to be sitting here, which I am nobody in HIV community. But how do we come, start this? Because we have been doing a lot of, virtual consultation, virtual advisory, for different segments. And we realize, to a certain extent, we realize there's one, key groups, right, that are not really being looked after in the virtual space by providing, kind of evidence-based information. Or evidence-based kind of directives and advisory, as well as where to go, like what Dato and Prof mentioned, right? And a lot of times when they're first diagnosed, they really do not know what to do, right? And of course, if you're lucky enough, you're very good doctors and spend time with you with empathy or this, then probably you will be able to get most of it. But those days, like Andrew, it was quite tough for him to go through, so much of hassles. Just simply give you two statements: you are HIV positive, right? So why we created this is just like what Prof mentioned. It's just one of the channels. It's not the total replacement of what all the healthcare teams have done throughout these years, right? So we hope that we are able to offer another channel for key population, as well as PLHIV, to really engage with the doctors who are trained in HIV or even STD, to provide information, advisory, and support. Right. Moving forward, I think we are also able to provide some form of mental health support, because remember, PLHIV or key groups, they don't live with HIV when they go to see Prof or Dato. They live with it 24/7. Right. So how do we continue to engage with them, right? And through, outside the four walls, right? So now everything is go by mobile first. So can we use some form of technology, some form of low tech or innovations to really connect to this group of people, to support them? Because there will be times they will be down. There will be times they are down with infections or moral or depression and all this. Can we continue to support them? Because that actually affects the whole outcome and outlook of the disease, right? So if you are able to connect with them, empower them, encourage them from day one, walk through the journey together, handhold with them, I think that makes a lot of difference. And we are not able to do that physically because of a restriction of our resources, because our doctors are very limited, right? So can we leverage on technology to really handhold them virtually in a hybrid way? And when they need to see the clinics, they go to see the clinics, right? In a way, like what Prof and Dato mentioned, right? The two key areas that we're looking at: the accessibility, stigma, and discrimination. And we hope by having this optional channel, another added channel, that will help to solve some of the issues of these two areas, but not all, but some of it. And as we go, we'll continue to improve the systems, the connectivity, and also the engagement with these key populations, as well as PLHIV. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I just need to get a clearer picture. So the patient will be able to choose the doctor that they want to see, or it's just the fact that they are attached to UMMC, so whichever doctor is there at the moment will see them. How does that work?
Yeah, thanks, Audrey. That's a very good question, a very technical question. So this project is totally pro bono. There's no charges, and right, so our doctors are spending their time to attend cases, and our response time for our doctors, for your information, is not like email style 24 hours respond to you. No, the moment you ping our doctor within the system, our average response time right now is 60 seconds. So by 60 seconds, we are able to respond you, and our average rating right now on our doctor services is 4.78 out of 5. So in terms of response time, we are there. In terms of quality, we are also there. But this is a pro bono service, right? And we are very fortunate to have Prof. James Cole to be part of this. So he also runs the virtual clinic with us on every Wednesday. And of course, we are all doctors. Of course, a big shout to all the HIV trained doctors. If you have this, calling, this mission to really reach out to more patients, please reach out to us, and hopefully, with your contribution, you are able to help to see some patients. To answer your question, Audrey, yes, the patients will be able to see the doctor's profile, the rating, the reviews, what kind of languages they speak, where do they practice. Yes, they can choose the doctor who they feel, maybe they like a prof so much, right? They will talk to a prof, right? So, and then they can start to consult. And those consult is one-to-one, is totally safe and secure. It's between, Prof. James Cole and you. So this is the platform that we are able to offer to the public in Malaysia. Yeah.
Yeah, which brings me to medical records, because this isn't just like a normal like sembang video session. So the doctors will have the medical records of the patients to refer to.
Yeah, so much so we want to make it like a sembang section, because we want to make the user experience to feel more comfortable. So the interface itself is very much like WhatsApp. So we want them to feel more comfortable to open up to the professionals. In terms of data security, we actually practice industry standard in terms of the data security, privacy, and of course the cybersecurity, all this. So all the doctors involved will have the data of this patient, and this remains highly, secure and safe within the ecosystem. So there won't be any a chance that we will leak out or share the information with others. So it all belongs to the patients, the provider, as well as the platform.
And who provides the doctors with the patient's medical records?
The system itself, actually, the doctors will have access to the patient record in real time. So it's all cloud-based.
But where do they get the records from? From the hospital?
Oh, so the record, because there's no integration with all this, right, which is highly complex. So we still rely on patients to actually, willingly to share the health records to the doctors they consult online. So from there, they build the health record within the system.
Okay, so in terms of blood tests and all, do you do that as well? Or the patient gets it from their hospital, then gives it to the doctor? How does that work?
Okay, so the blood test, they actually, you can either do it in hospitals, clinics, or even labs nowadays. And of course, once the result is out, you have a paper, you can snap a picture and show it to the doctors. My white blood cell count is like this, my CD4 is like this. What should I do? What should I be concerned? So all this we can do through online. And of course, moving forward, we are able to, we are looking towards, can we send the phlebotomist to the patient's home to do the, regular blood monitoring? Like today, Andrew had to go to the hospital, right? Which we have been doing some form of home-based healthcare services where, through the online, we bring offline services. So because a lot of stigma and discrimination and all this, right? And also, traffics like what Prof mentioned. So we actually can send, phlebotomists to the home to take bloods, and then, so that they don't have to go through the hassle. That is something possible in today's world, actually. Yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds very interesting. Okay, and as much as I would like to continue all of this, I have been informed that our time is up. So we need to move on to the next segment of Q&A. So yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Audrey.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay,
thank you everyone.
Yeah, okay.
It's a funny, informative, and also I don't know, like whether some of you, I actually have moment my eyes well a bit, especially when Peter and Andrew share the story. So we actually have some questions from the floor. Okay, so we have a question for Peter, right? Thank you for sharing your story. I'm from Sarawak. Your story is powerful, especially when you highlighted the challenges of people from a small town. Much love from Sarawak. What would you say to the PLHIVs in this part of Malaysia? We need more voices here. Peter.
What would I say? I'd say that you're loved. there's nothing wrong with you, to be honest. I think a lot of the times when we feel like there's something wrong with me, that, oh, this is my fault, something bad happened to me because I did something wrong, it was my mistake. I went through that, and it never did anything to me, to my mental health, to my life. And I think the first thing that I really want to tell you that it's never your fault. It was never anyone's fault to begin with. And I hope that you find reasons to fight, as how I did find my reasons to fight. Everyone has their own personal reasons to fight. And my personal reasoning was because life is so beautiful and I'm young. And there are things that I would really love to do still in my life. There's so many things on my bucket list, and don't let this diagnosis spell out, the end for you, because I thought of that in the beginning, but then here I am right now. I'm barely scratching the surface of my own life, and HIV never stopped me. HIV actually made me realize that there are things that are more important, and I get to pick my own battles. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We actually have another question for Andrew and for Peter as well. Unfortunately, Andrew, he has another engagement today, and I think he already left our session today. So the question is that, thank you for sharing your story, and I love how you are dealing with living with HIV with so much of positivity, with the support and love from people around. Being diagnosed with HIV positive, does it affect your employment, or will you disclose about your health status during your interview? So I don't know, Peter, do you have any experience you can share with us?
Yeah, I have a few experiences regarding
Right.
that. Personally, like I said, like I'm undetectable. You means equal, you equals you, right? Undetectable means untransmittable. And also at the same time, for me personally, how is my HIV status relevant to my job? To be honest, like I would not like my HIV to define me. The same way as like if you have any other lifelong illnesses, right? Like I don't want to be like, hey, I'm Peter, I have HIV. No, hi, I'm Peter, I'm a talented human being ready to provide my service and to provide my talents,
Yeah.
So that's how I approach it. And if they do ask me, I would say it, but I wouldn't like right off the bat be like, hey, just letting you know I have HIV, blah, blah, blah. To some people, they might do that. But for me personally, I take it on a case-to-case basis, because if I trust my employer enough and I've built a good relationship with them, sure, why not? I might need the support from them down the line. But I personally think that I don't let HIV define me, and it shouldn't define your life, your career life as well. Yeah.
Bravo, bravo.
Yeah.
I maybe we can ask Professor James as well. Professor James, from your experience, like the patient that you speak to, do they actually encounter problem? Say when it comes to employment, did they tell you that, I got fired from my job, or I was denied of this job opportunity because, they have to make some sort of health declaration? Because many companies actually, they do health screening before pre-employment screening. So I mean, have you heard such discrimination from your patients?
Unfortunately, yes, but this may not be the best forum to talk about it. Yes, we do have employees who have been asked to leave because of their status, and others who have been ostracized by fellow colleagues because the news leaked out, or somebody leaked out that the person is HIV positive, rather than trying to learn more and understand and see how unthreatening a person who has HIV is. Unfortunately, yes, that happens. But on the other hand, I've also experienced or met with a lot of employers who are very sympathetic and embracing, and they continue to support their employees. I think the key word here is we need to continue to fight against stigma and discrimination, and bring awareness so that people are aware and understand what's going on, and that people who are living with HIV can continue and will continue to be valuable members of the community and the workplace. So yeah, I because of time, I don't think I will elaborate further. But yeah, I've seen both sides of the coin.
Thank you, Professor James. At least we are seeing a
can
change.
I just say something?
Yes.
If there is anyone in the audience who want to get more information, I do know that the Malaysian AIDS Council, Malaysian AIDS Foundation, they do have a section that helps out with employment questions such as the one that you just posed. So maybe if anyone needs help, they can actually refer to either MAF or MAC. I can't remember whether it's the foundation or the council.
It's the council.
Yeah, right, Tana?
Yes, that is correct. It's an incident reporting site if you have any issues. It's called MAC Care. You can log on to our website, www.mac.org.my for further inquiries.
Yeah, so they would be able to actually help you navigate these employment questions and how to, if you have been wronged, how I suppose you can seek legal recourse, Tana?
Yes, that's correct. You can actually report it, and then there will be an assessor to assess it, and there will be a suitable person to actually come and actually assist you in everything. It'll go on case-to-case basis, of course.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tana. Thank you, Audrey. So we have another question here for Dr. Christopher. Despite 30 years of advocacy, stigma, discrimination, and lack of knowledge about HIV and AIDS still persist in every layer of the society. So how realistic is it to have a goal of eradicating HIV/AIDS in 7 years?
Well, I mean, we must have a target to aim for. And I think we now in Malaysia, we have the tools to address, at least attempt to make 2030 a reality. Will we succeed? Well, a lot depends on us, right? A lot depends on us. And we have discussed with regards to providing care and support, we discussed in great detail in today's forum. I think it is certainly doable, but can we eradicate it? Well, I'm being pragmatic, probably not, but just do what we can with what we have. I think that's important. Just keep chipping at it, all right? Now, we as a society chipped enough away for friends like Andrew and many of the other people who were diagnosed in the 90s to be still very much around today, all right? But if we had chipped harder and more effectively, perhaps a larger group of people would have had a much more peaceful or smoother transition as they navigate HIV. Before I go, I just want to add one point about the employment. As Peter mentioned just now, if you are diagnosed HIV positive and you are already in employment, all right, you are under no obligation to inform your boss, all right? Unless, of course, if there is a medical exam related to, let's say, medical insurance, and that is something that you have to think about, because, of course, any employer has the right to ask something of you if you want to continue working for them or for buying health insurance for you as a company. That makes sense, yeah? However, as you mentioned just now, and provided by the support provided by MAC, for example, if anyone is terminated because of discrimination, you can actually contact MAC to report it, and MAC will provide some support to see what we can do for you, all right? Does it mean we can get everything back for you? I don't know, but at least there's someone out there betting for you in your corner, all right? So I do hope people who are in that predicament will at least know there are someone out there willing and happy to help. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Chris. We have one more question for you. As you mentioned by your good self, the Sungai Buloh Hospital started its virtual HIV clinic since 2017. Would you mind sharing what were the challenges back then, especially onboarding individuals who are less tech savvy?
Okay, first I have to sort out what James had to sort out, internet access. Okay, I mean,
Sungai Buloh internet access is good.
Yeah, not so great. All right, we also have our telco-free zones that you cannot.
Yeah.
That's office, for example. But anyway, jokes aside, we actually use our own resources to put up the internet at our clinic. All right, so we found a way to pay for it ourselves. All right, and until today, it's still the same. Of course, with COVID, Sungai Buloh being the flagship of COVID, whatever my successor asked for, he got. So now we have internet access in the hospital, but not every hospital is in that predicament. So I think the hardware was the first thing we had to deal with. The next thing is to train our own staff on cyber etiquette and cyber security issues. And lastly, of course, as what James mentioned, we had to start engaging the patients who we were wanting to put into the program. So we select patients out, all right? So we may not have selected a patient who is 85 years old, who is having a lot of issues with internet access and not so cyber savvy. But look at the younger ones. We have plenty. We have 10,000 patients. So finding a few thousand patients who are savvy is not a problem. As James said, this does not mean we stop the face-to-face clinics. It still goes on. It's still crazy, all right? But at least people have an option, and exactly what Dr.U is doing as well, giving people an option. Yeah. So I think the stages that we have to go through.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. So I think that's all the time we have for the Q&A session. So if you have any further question, member in the audience, please feel free to reach out to us via Doc2US platform on social media, on website, or continue typing your question in the Q&A. We'll find a way to come back to you. Okay, so before we proceed to the launch, perhaps we can take a group photo of our panel speaker, moderator, together with MAC's Vice President, Dr. Dinesh. Can our administration side,
Yes, give me a minute to pin everyone in place.
Thank you.
Put everybody in place,
Yeah. Okay, Desiree, you give us the cue, okay, when you're ready.
All right, I'm still pinning. I'll let all of you know.
Okay. It's unfortunate. Andrew has to go. We have to find a way to Photoshop him back.
Are we still supposed to smile or not smiling anymore?
Desiree will give us a cue. Probably she will still give us like 1, 2, 3 smile, some sort of countdown.
Oh, okay. So we're not doing that.
Okay.
Grumpy now.
You can keep your smile for a while.
Okay, I'm done here. So on the count of 3, please smile. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, one more. Desiree, can you take one more so that everyone look into your camera as well? Smile and look into your camera.
Okay. 1, 2. Okay, I got 2.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so now is the time. It's the proper launch gambit. Each year on the 3rd Sunday of May is the International AIDS Memorial Day, or IAMD in short. It is known to be one of the world's oldest and the largest grassroots mobilization campaign for HIV awareness in the world. In conjunction with IAMD 2023, which falls on this Sunday, 21st of May, MAC has produced this video under IAMD's global theme, Spread Love and Solidarity to Build Stronger Communities. Through this video, both MAC and Doc2US hope to draw attention to the challenges that individuals like Peter and Andrew face with HIV due to ongoing discrimination, which can cause shame, self-doubt, and isolation. Let us watch this beautiful video produced by MAC now.
Tak ada manusia yang terlahir sempurna. Jangan kau sesali segala yang telah terjadi. Kita pasti pernah dapatkan cobaan yang berat. Seakan hidup ini tak ada hidup adalah anugerah. Tetap jalani hidup ini, melakukan yang terbaik. Tak ada manusia yang terlahir sempurna. Jangan kau sesali segala yang telah terjadi. Syukuri apa yang ada. Hidup adalah anugerah. Tetap jalani hidup ini, melakukan yang terbaik. Tuhan pastikan menunjukkan kebesaran dan kuasanya bagi hambanya yang sabar dan tak kenal putus asa. Jangan menyerah, jangan menyerah, jangan menyerah. Jangan menyerah, jangan menyerah, jangan menyerah. Oh, syukuri apa yang ada. Hidup adalah anugerah. Tetap jalani hidup ini, melakukan yang terbaik. Tuhan pastikan menunjukkan kebesaran dan kuasanya bagi hambanya yang sabar dan tak kenal putus asa, dan tak kenal putus asa.
Ladies and gentlemen, with this video, we are pleased to announce the official opening of DOC2US Virtual HIV Clinic, which will provide free medication consultation on HIV or STD-related matters through teleconsultation with DOC2US licensed and board-approved doctors. The platform also allows people living with HIV and key population to obtain self-test kits, lab test referrals, and e-prescription for medication. Thank you, MAC, for the video, and congratulations to DOC2US. I'm sure you're probably as curious as I am how easy it is to use DOC2US and access the virtual HIV clinic. DOC2US has prepared this short video for us. Let's watch this video together.
Did you know that the Ministry of Health's Global AIDS Monitoring 2021 Progress Report showed that by the end of 2020, about 87% of an estimated 92,063 people living with HIV in Malaysia were aware of their status? 58% of reported PLHIV received antiretroviral therapy, and 85% of those on antiretroviral treatment became virally suppressed. To help Malaysia achieve the global AIDS target of 95, 95, 95, DOC2US launched the first ever virtual HIV STD clinic in Malaysia. It offers patients complimentary online consultation with licensed doctors, doorstep HIV test kit and medication delivery service nationwide. Talk to us at DOC2US today regarding all your concerns about HIV or STD. Start by downloading the DOC2US app. Then, Register an account via our exclusive HIV sign-up page. Log in to DOC2US app via the registered email and password. Enter the Virtual HIV STD Clinic in homepage. Select an online doctor and click to chat. Talk to our doctor about your concerns, such as pre-exposure prophylaxis medication, post-exposure prophylaxis medication, HIV test kit, and more. Next, receive e-prescription. Choose your preferred delivery method and receive medication at your doorstep. Talk to us at DOC2US.
Ladies and gentlemen, DOC2US Virtual HIV Clinic is accessible via DOC2US telehealth apps available on Google Play Store, Apple App Store, Huawei App Gallery, as well as a website for desktop access. The clinic operates every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. In other words, it is open today until 5 for those who want to give it a try. All right, we have reached the end of our event today. On behalf of DOC2US, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to MAC, the MAC team for burning midnight oil with us. Tana, thank you so much. And also to make today such a success. Thank you, Dr. Dinesh, for being our guest of honor, and to the MAC partnering organization for your support. On behalf of both MAC and DOC2US, we thank our panelists, Dr. Christopher Lee, Professor Dr. James Cole, Mr. Andrew Tan, Mr. Peter Jambal, and our lovely moderator, Ms. Audrey Edwards, media friends and participants for joining us today. We urge you to help us to spread the news about this virtual HIV clinic, providing free online consultation on HIV, AIDS, and STDs. With your help, we can achieve the 95-95-95 global AIDS targets together. Overcome stigma, discrimination, spread love, and solidarity to build stronger communities. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.